Buenas tardes, good evening, Kwali Yoali. My name is Corina Herrera Loera, and I'm a Public Information Officer with the Emergency Operations Center with the County of Santa Clara, and also a proud resident of the east side of San Jose. Our speakers will be keeping their face masks on until they come up to the podium. They will remove them to understand them more clearly. Also, we asked all who are present to maintain a social distancing from everybody unless outside of your household. Thank you. I am honored to be your MC here today. As an Indigenous woman, descendant of the Wirarica Nation, I would like to start off by acknowledging that we are guests here on the ancestral homeland of the Muwekma Ohlone people who continue to live and thrive in our local community. We are gathered at the School of Arts and Culture at the Mexican Heritage Plaza to acknowledge all that our community has endured, from having to change the way they were used to living and many ways that this pandemic has affected our community. As leaders, we felt it was important to come together and acknowledge the hurt and the pain we have collectively endured and provide a space for healing. To start us off, I would like to call up the Executive Director for the Schools of Arts and Culture at the Mexican Heritage Plaza, Jessica Paz Cedillo, who will welcome us here today and tell us more about the beautiful Avenida de Altares cultural celebration. Jessica?
Gracias, Corina. Good evening, buenas noches, bienvenidos a su casa. Welcome to this year's Avenida de Altares. My name is Jessica Paz Cedillo, and I am the Executive Director at the School of Arts and Culture at your Mexican Heritage Plaza. As a cultural and community hub, we empower community members and offer a space where over 70,000 people a year are able to practice, affirm, and celebrate their culture and heritage. And during one of the toughest years, La Plaza continues to serve as a symbol of solidarity, resilience, and strength, values that the East Side needs now more than ever. When the pandemic hit, La Plaza pivoted core work to offer crucial support services like food distribution and COVID-19 testing, while continuing to honor long-standing cultural traditions like this year's Day of the Dead. For the past 3 years, the School of Arts and Culture, in partnership with Giant Creative Services and Cultura Marketing, has activated La Plaza and the Alum Rock Corridor with altars and performances, which in the past has drawn over 2,000 people. Unfortunately, this Day of the Dead looks different and carries a much more somber tone. The residents of East San Jose have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 due to long-standing inequities which have taken a toll on the residents of the East Side. Residents who are the backbone of Silicon Valley, who are our essential workers, and who in the face of significant tragedy keep this valley working. This year, the School of Arts and Culture will honor their contributions through our Avenida de Altares, a free drive-thru Day of the Dead event at La Plaza where family and community members can enjoy the altars constructed by local artists, music, and art kits for children. On this same weekend of Avenida de Altares, the School of Arts and Culture will serve as a voting site, starting this Saturday. Heading out to vote is not only a way to make our voice heard, it is a way to honor the many who have sacrificed so much and who are no longer with us. This Avenida de Altares, we honor those we have lost to the pandemic and urge community to vote. Gracias.
Thank you, Jessica. At this time, I would like to call up another fierce woman in our community who serves as our City Council member for the City of San Jose, District 5. Please join me in welcoming Councilmember Magdalena Carrasco.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here on this, really this beautiful, it's a beautiful occasion. El Día de los Muertos is a time-honored tradition in our culture where we remember those who have moved on before us. And it's a time of celebration. It's a time to remind us that nothing is permanent. We are ever evolving, and this time of inflection in our city, for sure, and definitely in our country, this rings true in every corner as our youth and our communities cry out for justice. And just like this marigold, el cempasúchil reminds us that life is fragile. But especially during these times of COVID, we should be looking after those who represent our values, who are here to protect us, who are here to make sure that we are taken care of and that we take care of those who are vulnerable. Latinos most definitely fuel and are part of the underground economy. What COVID has done, it has unveiled the fragility of our society, a society that has been built upon the backs of Latinos. Silicon Valley has long depended on our labor, and especially East San Jose has provided that labor that has allowed the ingenuity of Silicon Valley to move the world. Silicon Valley is the cradle of creativity, but the irony is that the greatest digital divide has been right here in East San Jose, leaving thousands of children disconnected from their education. We surely will see the achievement gap grow exponentially as the digital divide comes to the forefront. Latinos on the east side of San Jose have been your frontline workers. They allow you to shelter in place from this little known virus that has ravaged communities, that has spurred on mass hysteria throughout the world. The irony is that this pandemic has completely ravaged this community, the home to your essential workers, to those who have suddenly become dispensable, who have been your sacrificial lambs. While the Latino only represents a quarter of Santa Clara County population, we represent over 40% of the deaths. We are here to honor each and every one of those deaths. While Latinos represent about 40% of California's population, we represent almost 50% of those deaths. And we are here to honor each and every one of those deaths. El Día de los Muertos allows us to remember and celebrate the lives of those who have passed. But I ask you that on this November, we make sure that we vote for those that are living. For we have to make sure that those who are elected into office represent our values and protect those who stay behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Carrasco. Now, I would like to invite a community member who's been active in our community and will provide a community perspective with us all, Cynthia Colmenares.
Muchas gracias. Buenas noches a todos ustedes. Mi nombre es Cynthia Colmenares. Soy parte del colectivo Si Se Puede, aquí en nuestra comunidad. Este colectivo es organizado por 5 organizaciones sin fines de lucro: Bella Illusion, Somos Mayfair, Escuela de Arte y Cultura, Creole y Amigos de Guadalupe. Nuestra meta es educar a nuestra comunidad acerca de todos nuestros poderes que tenemos. Por ejemplo, el voto. El voto es un poder muy importante para hacer valer nuestros derechos, para hacer cambios en nuestra comunidad y en nuestras generaciones. Durante estos días hemos visto que han pasado varias cosas. Actualmente tenemos la pandemia. Este virus nos ha impactado bastante y principalmente a nuestra comunidad latina, ya que somos la mayoría los que estamos trabajando cerca y exponiéndonos. Gracias a eso, hemos creado muchos recursos, hemos creado muchos programas para ayudarles. Nosotros ni nuestro gran propósito es estar aquí para todas nuestras comunidades. Sabemos que a lo largo de la historia muchas personas han fallecido y por eso es que estamos honrándolos en estos días de los muertos. También queremos agradecer a todos ustedes que han mantenido su sana distancia y han continuado cuidándose y protegiendo a sus familias. Queremos recordar que no es fácil, pero que podemos aprender todos juntos si nos unimos. Unirnos como comunidad es una herramienta bastante importante y es la clave para poder erradicar lo que actualmente está sucediendo en nuestra comunidad. Quiero también que recordemos la importancia de votar, porque eso se hace para hacer cambios, para hacer mejoras. No todos tenemos la oportunidad de poder votar, pero los que pueden hacerlo, debemos nosotros motivarlos a que lo hagan. Si ustedes no pueden votar, ayuden a organizar personas para que infórmenlos, para que ellos vayan a votar. Háganles saber cuáles serían los beneficios para ellos, para sus familias y la comunidad si utilizan algo tan fácil y tan importante como su poder para votar. Recordemos que si tenemos miedo no hacemos nada. Recordemos, power, no fear. Les agradezco mucho a todos ustedes y cualquier cosa que necesiten, nuestro colectivo Sí Se Puede, estamos aquí para brindarles información, recursos y todo lo que necesiten. Mi compañera Teresa y yo somos parte del colectivo y agradecemos que ustedes estén escuchando y aprendiendo cada día más. Muchas gracias y buenas noches.
Qué bonito mensaje. What a beautiful message. Power, not fear. At this time, I would like to call up another champion in our community, somebody who is fierce and connects with our community and understands our community when she is making decisions on behalf of our community. I would like to call up Supervisor Cindy Chavez at this time.
Thank you. I am really honored to be here at Mexican Heritage Plaza, at really the center of innovation and I think affection for the community here on the east side of San Jose. Let me just say the two reasons I most wanted to come out today. First, and this is enormously important, a majority of people who've gotten COVID-19 and who have died from that disease came from this community. Why? Because they are essential workers, because they were volunteers who reached out to help other people right at the beginning of COVID-19 when we didn't know what we were facing, and unafraid they went forward. And some, very afraid, went to work at grocery stores, continued to drive buses, continued to deliver our mail. These leaders today and those who have passed are being honored in this beautiful, sacred place that belongs to our entire community, but particularly here to the east side. The second point I wanted to raise is this. The only way our community gets beaten ever is when we are silent. And we have an opportunity to raise our voices in a way we never had. And let me remind all of you, and I'm just going to speak about women for a moment. The number of women right now in our country who are unemployed, if you make less than $40,000 a year, you are more likely to be a woman of color, and unemployed than if you make more than $70,000. What that means is when we want our communities to be different, we have to be bold. And like Cynthia says, we have to embrace the power that belongs to all of us. So this place is an opportunity for us to celebrate the Day of the Dead, but this weekend, it is an opportunity to come and vote. This is a vote center. So when you come, you can vote, and if you're not registered, you can register and vote at the same time. So please join us here at Mexican Heritage Plaza. Come, make this place the place that you let your voice be heard. Thank you for letting me join you.
Thank you, President Chavez. As we know, everything becomes much easier when we work in community and do things together. I am proud to have the Si Se Puede Collective, which you've heard a little bit about already. I would like to invite the Executive Director of Amigos de Guadalupe and the Si Se Puede Collective member, Maritza Maldonado, who has also been personally impacted by COVID-19. Welcome, Maritza.
Muy buenas noches. My name is Maritza Maldonado, Executive Director of Amigos de Guadalupe. Our community has had to endure 4 years of racist politics and attack by this administration. Our families feel the violence of statements like, build the wall, they're rapists and drug addicts. We know the terror of our babies being snatched and put into cages, and our mothers grieving for the loss of their babies. Now, the pandemic that has ravaged this country has been far more lethal for our Latino community as it has for the white population. For example, Latinos are 25.8% of the population in Santa Clara County. Yet we account for 58% of the COVID deaths. By the way, that's down. We also make up 38% of the deaths in Santa Clara County. East San Jose, as you've heard, has been impacted the hardest because we are predominantly Latino and predominantly poor, working class. The pandemic became personal to me when I lost my beloved sister to COVID. After a long career as a social worker in Santa Clara County, she retired and became Amigo CSL and citizenship teacher. She helped hundreds of immigrants become citizens. It was a job she loved so much. She wasn't just a teacher. If a family was in trouble, the food or the rent checks would just show up. By the way, I was always angry at her for doing those things. Right out of my sister's pocket. My sister was also a mom of 2 daughters. She was brilliant. And as I have already said, generous, literally giving the clothes off her back and the shoes off her feet to anyone that needed it. In my sister's last days, she was afraid. She was alone, and we were unable to be by her side. My sister died on May 4th. She was one of many horrible statistics with this cruel pandemic that has hit so many of us in East San Jose. But she was not a statistic to us. To us, she was a hero and a fighter for justice. I continue to wonder if my sister would still be alive if our president had informed the American public sooner. Would we have all acted differently? Would we have been wearing our masks? Would that difference have meant that my sister and thousands of other families throughout this country have lost their loved ones still be here? We will never know, and these questions will continue to haunt me. The good news is that the numbers are currently decreasing in East San Jose. Thank you to the County of Santa Clara for their hand on the proactive approach to addressing this virus. Truly, I think Dr. Cody is a hero to our community and has gotten a lot of pushback, but for folks here in East San Jose, she is our hero. We also express our deepest thanks to Supervisor Chavez for her work in supporting our Promotora Outreach Project. Thank you for that. We know that when our community members support each other, we are more effective and our community is empowered. The work that we are currently doing is saving lives every day. We are tired. We are tired. Every one of our 5 agencies that make up the Si Se Puede Collective share stories every Friday since the pandemic hit. We're tired. But here's what I will tell you. We live out Si Se Puede every single day in this community, and we will not stop till the racial inequities that we have experienced for generations in East San Jose stop. We ask every one of you out there to vote, to make a difference in our beloved East San Jose. Thank you.
Thank you, Maritza. Now, at this time, I would like to call up Gerardo Loera, who is my husband, and also the Director of Development and Communications with the Indian Health Center. Gerardo Loera will help us close the press conference part of our program here with an uplifting message and call to action for us all.
Buenas noches. Good evening. Our beautiful East San Jose and our community beyond. I'd like to invite you all, after hearing these stories, after we've reflected on all of the challenges that we've experienced individually and collectively, to take in that healing breath, that sacred medicine that we might take for granted each and every day and each and every breath that we take. On the count of 3, while my wife here offers up some copal smoke on behalf of our community right here, I'm going to invite you all to take that deep healing breath with me. 1, 2, 3. In honor of all those, not only that have gone on, but have suffered losses during this difficult and challenging time. I'm humbled by what I see, by what I hear, and mostly by what I feel here tonight. This, as I look around me, is our beautiful East San Jose. A beautiful and powerful representation of familias unidas, communities empowered, arte, cultura, diversity, all being celebrated. Organizations, leaders that are invested and firmly rooted in and a reflection of the community that they serve. Our beautiful East San Jose. Where in times of tragedy, times of crisis, and in times of celebration, we come together. Women won the right to vote in 1920, recently celebrating 100 years of that victory. It wasn't until 1962 that the First Nations of these lands were able to vote in all 50 states. 1962. In honor of those who came before us, their struggles, their sacrifices, I ask you, relatives that are able and ready, like those that came before us right here that raised their fist on behalf of our communities. Come November 3rd, be sure that you are registered, be sure that you are informed, and most importantly, cast your vote, porque juntos, together, sí se puede.
Thank you so much, Amor. And as we talked about so many stories, we thought of so many names today. We remembered those that we've lost. We remember those that have been affected. We remember those that have been hungry. We remember those that have been scared. We remember those that have been depressed. Bringing all that today, we acknowledge it. We acknowledge it and take time to say, we're here, community, and we belong here, and we will get through this. We've all done a lot. We've all sacrificed a lot, and we're doing better. We're doing better, and there's still much to do. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. I want to thank each and every one of you for all you do in your homes, in your community, all you represent. We are all needed at the front lines. Thank you. And at this time, I would like to call Father Jon Pedigo, who will honor us and guide us in a ceremony to help acknowledge the artists that work hard here today. And thank you, Father Pedigo, for doing the work that you do for our community and leading us with ceremony. Ometeo.
I was called to say a prayer over los altares. As we know, these altares honor the dead, especially those who died from COVID. But we cannot pray without any integrity in our hearts and our spirit until we acknowledge and tell the truth. And that's what we came here today, to set and frame what we're doing in truth. Because as previous speakers said, that racial inequity, which we knew all along, but now revealed it simply revealed the racism. And now with the CVO, it revealed the racists and the racist systems that not only created but perpetuated systems and the conditions that left our kin vulnerable to infection and death on the east side. So this celebration of Dia de los Muertos is una dia de resistencia. We heard and we hear the voices of our ancestors when we come to these altars, here and in our own homes. But building altars is not enough. We must build a movement of people power, of change, of transformation, not simply a transition of power, but a transformation of the system that holds our people back. We must be the architects of our own political and economic destinies, and to do that, as we've heard time and time again from the stories and witnesses, we will vote. Our vote is therefore grounded in hope, and our hope is grounded in resistance. The stories of our ancestors remind us that they are still here. They are still here, even though they tried to kill them with cultural and actual genocide. They are still here, even though they tried to deport them, put their children in cages, force them deeper into the desert and into the arms of human traffickers, they are still here and their stories will be told. They have tried to kill them, to suppress their voice by suppressing their vote, to silence them with intimidation and anti-Latino and anti-immigrant rhetoric. But these things did not kill them. They did not kill us. We will resist. We are a people, un pueblo de resistencia. Somos un pueblo de que vamos a votar. And we are going to hold on to our common culture, to honor our ancestors at this time in ceremony and ritual, to strengthen our hope by our honoring them. And we now are going to enter into this time of ritual blessing. It will be a moment of silence, so I'm going to step back here. I'm going to invite all the artists to come forward at this time, and those that are their artist supporters to come forward at this time. So you're all invited. The cameras are going to come by. We're going to do a ritual with copal, palo santo, velas, agüita, and all the different elements that compose the sacredness of attracting our ancestors to the sacred space. En esos tiempos, hermanos, hermanas, ustedes tienen su copa. You have your cups. I'm going to give you guys a copal, carbón, y palo santo. And you put that in your cups and you're going to hold them up when I do the blessing. Okay. One at a time, come up. Dame un incienso, copa. Sí. lift up your cups? We call to the ancestors and thank them for their life. We call to the ancestors and thank them for their witness. We call to the ancestors and thank them for their stories. We call to the ancestors and thank them for their perseverance. We call to the ancestors and thank them for their forgiveness for us, the living. We call to the ancestors and thank them for their inspiration to us, the living. We call to the ancestors and thank them for their cultural heritage that we have today to pass on to our children. And so with this, we thank our ancestors and their stories. With this copal, may our prayers rise like incense. With carbon, that has formerly burnt wood that is still find use, that remind us that we are also reduced to carbon, but we also can find a way to keep the flame and heat going. The Palo Santo, to initiate the flame, to be that first spark of resistance. Bless each one of us. May our ancestors, may their memory be a blessing. May their witness hold us through to this day. And together we say Amen. Amen. Okay. And please go to your altars at this time to put your things in your incensarios. Chuy, gracias.
Thank you all, and this concludes our event for tonight. We thank you all for coming and joining us, and we hope that you join us this weekend to be a part of the drive-thru of the altares beginning tomorrow night. Thank you.